Welcome to the Funding Fathers, where mortgages meet manhood and curiosity meets conversation. Your hosts, Jesse Cronin, Chad Paris, and Tyler Jenkins sit down with guests from every walk of life. Industry insiders, entrepreneurs, and everyday people with extraordinary stories. The topics, anything that fuels life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink. The conversation starts now.
All right, guys, welcome back to the closing table with the Funding Fathers. I'm Jesse Cronin.
Tyler Jenkins.
Chad Paris.
Today we have an extremely special guest, a dear friend of mine. He's not only a husband, father to 5, probably more than that, really. But you know, bonus kids,
Bonus
right?
kids.
But no, seriously, chairman of the board, CEO, the founder. And just an unbelievable dude. 90s golfer. 95 push-ups a day. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce my good friend and boss, Chuck Williams.
So, thanks, Chad.
Hey guys,
Appreciate it. Really.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure. I don't know what I can bring to the table, but I'm here to.
I'll tell you what you bring to the table every day for us is the funding.
Yeah, money is.
The Funding Fathers are nothing without our good friend, Mr. Chuck Williams. So you bring the money to the table.
We have money. That's good. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
It was good. Good.
So you, obviously, you started Northpointe in '98, right?
That's right. 1998. Yep. And it was a couple years. In 1997, we started the process and we opened the doors in May of '99.
May of '99. It's been obviously a pretty amazing 26-year run from the humble beginnings to ringing the bell.
Yeah.
A couple
Been
months
quite a
back.
trip.
Been quite a trip, but let's take it back to just obviously your journey into banking. Obviously you woke up probably at the ripe age of 12 and said, I'm going to be a banker. Right?
Yeah.
Is that how that happened?
Don't all of us in this business, we're in high school or college or whatever, and we wake up and say, I can't wait to originate mortgages and, be in the banking business.
We joked about that on one.
I have a funny story.
We joked about it on one of the last podcasts. And I saw one of the clips. I'm like, Ty, you didn't dream of being a mortgage banker? What are your aspirations in life?
The first time someone introduced the idea of it to me, I was looking to do my first internship, and I walked in there, and they told me what the job was, and I left, and I was like, that sounds like the dumbest job. I could never do that.
Yeah.
And now, here we are.
How do you steer in that direction? As far as when you were a teenager or in college, did you have, aspirations on finances in general, banking? How did that kind of,
Yeah. So, I could probably start with just trying to avoid being homeless, not a real strong career path into banking, or whatnot. I started as when I was 21, 22 as a collector for a bank called Michigan National. And it was, we collected on MasterCards, out of Detroit. So it was, a challenging job being, in Lansing, doing collections, in Detroit. So really excelled, at that. And then I had the opportunity to interview at a small bank called First National Bank of Michigan at the time. It's now First National Bank of America. That was in 1983, so it was a minute ago. And so I hired on there as a collector, and I had a great mentor, at First National that taught me how to lend. And when I was going over some notes, to do this interview, I was thinking back on because one of the questions was, what were some of the mentor notes or mentor things in your life, and I think we all have those people that you can. I sure am glad I ran into him or her, right? So, yeah, you guys are, some of the greatest leaders. I'm sitting here doing the interview, but I'm sitting with some of the greatest leaders, in the industry right here.
Sure.
So I'll just bust straight into him and how I really got dialed into banking. So I was a collector. And he just would take time, every day at the end of the day. So we left at 5:30 or whatever. But at 4:30, I would just go into his office, print here every day. And he'd be, how you're all busy and whatnot. And he would just take a breath, I said, will you show me how to do amortizations? Will you show me how to, do a discount, on a loan to buy it at a discount or premium? And, and he would just set everything down and run through all these tables and whatnot with me. And he knew I was a sponge. So every day he knew I was coming in there just like in his busy day. So, and he never once said, I'm too busy. He just dropped whatever he was doing. And those kind of people that you run into in your life are really special. And he was one of those individuals. So he taught me how to lend. I was 23 years old and I had $25,000 lending authority on second mortgages. So, if you equate that to today, I was a pretty, young age, and I was running the department, when I was 26 or 27 years old. So, that was a great start for me. And then I left there. I was, knocking down, I think 30 grand a year or something like that. Or no, I wasn't making that much. I went back at that. I was making like $18,000 a year, and somebody said, you could make that in a couple of months originating mortgages. I'm like, no way. And so,
wait a second. Wait a moment here.
It's funny because we, in a previous episode, we actually had similar scenarios. Chad had a good friend, Bobby Clifton, who he got into his car and he sees this stack of paychecks, and it's Bobby's origination paychecks, and he's like, Bob, how much was the paycheck you saw?
I mean, it was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah. And
how I got an interest. Literally, how I got an interest. All this paycheck, I was like, you have to get me a job, like right now. You're making this kind of money, and I was like, please set up the interview. And the next week, I was hired. So yeah,
So
it is kind of funny. Like you hear that in $18,000 in 2 months. Like
yeah. And it came true too. So I left there. I was $18,000 a year. I think I made $95,000 my first year as an originator.
In the 80s.
That's
in the 80s.
I was going to say,
baller.
I'm like, okay, that's what?
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
weeks?
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, it was it was incredible. And so from there, I did that for originating mortgages for 3 years, and then my mentor came back to me. He's like, I want to retire, looking for somebody to run the loan department at First National. And I had kind of run I thought as far as I could being an originator, and wanted more of a management position. So I went back to the bank, took a pay cut. But I knew that eventually it would lead to bigger management opportunities, which it did. And so I was part of the management team there for a good 10 years, and we had terrific performance. And we dabbled around with non-conforming mortgages, not necessarily subprime, but in Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, kind of what I started the bank on. And I just figured, hey, if I could do it here, there's banks around, how do you start a bank? And so I just started asking those questions, and I was in my mid-30s, and
It's pretty cool. I mean, like, how do you start a bank? Let me figure this out real quick. All right. I mean, think about that. If you're here listening, if you're listening to that and you hear that, like, that's not a normal conversation.
normal thought.
When you're sitting around like, just gonna start a bank. Like, it's just.
they're around. Somebody started them.
Somebody, right? Yeah, that dude in the suit that I was telling you about. That's 7 days a week. So it is wild. So
Yeah. So yeah, I had some. I think I've already told you guys a story. I had some, kind of some childish enthusiasm and whatnot, and so away I went down that path, and was fortunate enough that everything fell in line, and got it off the ground. So that, in a nutshell, is my banking career. But never in the first 20 years of my life did I sit around thinking I was going to be a banker. So
yeah.
No doubt. Well, and you were born and raised how close to like here where we sitting now?
about 60 miles, a thriving metropolis called Wacusta, Michigan. So it's got a all-purpose store in it, and had a little elementary school where I grew up. So yeah.
And then so were your parents? Was banking ever at all?
No. My dad was he grew up. He started as a draft draftsman for a place called Douglas Steel, and he was there, oh gosh, 30 some years, and then he kind of graduated into bidding on jobs, and he would, a construction project would come in, and they sold the steel for it, so he would put together the bids on, how it would, how steel and labor and all that would cost. So that he did a lot of big projects like that. My mom was looking after 7 kids, and she sold Avon door to door though, and raised 7 kids. I don't know how she did that.
That's a hustler.
That's a strong
That's
one
it,
right
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still kicking too. So she broke her hip 3 weeks ago, and we thought maybe she was down and out, and we actually took her to my sister's wedding yesterday. So that was
She's
pretty
she's
incredible.
Making a turn. I mean,
she's making the turn.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
and
How excited was she? Obviously, as you get into your banking career, you get Northpointe off the ground, and then seeing it full circle to go into public. How proud of a moment was that for your mom?
yeah, well, it's it's a very proud moment for her, but you have to understand, my mom and dad were never, financially. I don't know. They
Well
weren't
off.
investors, or
Yeah.
they made a living,
Savvy.
and they spent it on the kids, and we went camping, and we did all this stuff, but never really, was in the stock market. And I got to tell you a great story. So my mom, when I was I was talking to her about going to New York and taking Northpointe public, and she says, "Oh, that's great, honey." She said, your dad and I were never really much into that sort of thing, but good luck.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Mom.
Like, didn't really understand the magnitude of it, actually. It's just like,
No,
it's
no.
cool.
but
Yeah. Good job, honey.
she was so cute. Yeah, we were never really into that, but good luck, honey.
Good pep talk. But I'm sure she was. I mean, but honestly,
That's
though,
awesome.
I'm sure she was super excited.
Yeah, she is. She couldn't be more proud, and doesn't and rightfully so, doesn't understand the whole thing, but it's cute kind of watching her grow.
You said something earlier, and I want to touch on that because when we were courting to come on board here. Sorry, I have an alarm to go off to keep me in check from life. I need alarms to keep me on check. No, but one of the things when we came on, almost 4 years.
4 years and 2 weeks.
4 years and 2 years. I mean, 4. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
In 2
4
weeks.
years and 2.
In 2 weeks, yeah.
Pretty awesome. I mean, it seems like yesterday we were just in one of those board, rooms talking.
I just
but,
spent 3 years last week.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Isn't it?
Wow. I
Time
just
Crazy.
flies.
Late 22. It was September
Yeah.
22.
I can't believe it's been 4 years.
I know.
Yeah.
Best 4 years of our
There you
lives.
go.
Right? Let's go.
and let's be honest, we're here multitude of reasons, but I mean, and again, you said something I'll get back to in a second on non-conforming and products that you offer, how you cut your teeth in this business. But we're here because one of the Northpointe's, I mean, a lot of great aspects of Northpointe Bank, but one of the main things that Jesse and I could not wrap our head around was all the solutions, the portfolio, the programs, the multitude of options that we were able to offer our clients. We don't come from that, right? So it's kind of one of those this is. We kind of look at each other this is incredible, but it wasn't always like that. You didn't start the business with all these wonderful, beautiful programs and silver lining and easy. You told us a story when we were sitting there talking about, non-conforming the land,
Right.
Manufactured properties, and that's kind of how you cut your teeth. So, talk about how you come into that. Was that a strategy? Was that just, heck, that's all I knew, and then how that kind of evolved to where we are today?
Yeah, so it kind of goes, hand in hand with challenging times. One of the things I was reading, coming into, what we were going to talk about today is, how do you deal with challenging times? And when you have challenges in your life, I always look at it as an opportunity, because something is going to come out of it. It's maybe not the greatest, the day that you're going through it, but eventually something's, going to be born out of it. And it's no different, with Northpointe. We were a portfolio lending bank. We did second mortgages, hobby farms, mobile homes on land, everything that kind of was outside of Fannie and Freddie box. So that's what I grew up on, and that's, what we did. And Fannie and Freddie and all of that. Just like, I don't need that noise. We're just going to build a portfolio.
You don't need the biggest
who needs-
GSEs in the country.
Like thinking about that, it's like we don't need that. Like it's like what everybody wants. So like who wants a manufacturer? Like I mean, like it's like who's wanting to cut?
They're
their teeth on
saying
that?
everyone else is saying the same thing about all the things you just listed. Saying we don't need that. We're just gonna stick to this.
Yeah. So and then 2007 and 8 hit, and there's some incredible stats, and I think I've shared these with you guys before, but the state of Michigan in appreciation from like 2004 to 2007, ranked like 47th, in the country. So think about that.
Bottom 47.
Yeah, the 47th
Yeah.
state for appreciation.
Yeah.
So there was no appreciation in the state of Michigan. So when the financial crisis hit, Michigan was like the 4th in the country, behind like Nevada, Florida, and I forget, Arizona maybe, as the worst states for
Really?
for the crash. Michigan was number 4.
Depreciation.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
When
like
it does
30 or 30. I know, it was crazy because we didn't have the appreciation. So how could you, go from
Yeah.
47th to the 4th?
Yeah.
Good.
So then all the stuff that we had, at 65, 70% loan to value is now at 100% loan to value. And so we had to work through, just a very challenging couple of years, trying to keep people in their homes and, getting rid of homes because people would just walk next door because, they could buy it at 30 or 40, percent cheaper. So, we worked through all of that, but, out of those challenges, really, we were, reborn, in 2009 and 10,
Yeah.
from, kind of the ashes of the way we used to be. So now what do we do? And so, okay, well, if I'm going to build this thing, and we're going to rebuild it, let's rebuild it differently. Let's have everything. Let's have Fannie, Freddie, Jenny, and portfolio, and the real catalyst that moved the needle was the warehouse business. At that time, I think I told you guys, a mortgage banking buddy called me and said, "You ever been in the warehouse business?" And I said, "No, but I'm not doing anything really productive now." So
What's a better time to start? Yeah, let's go.
So it sounds great. How do you do it? And so we
Love it.
So we figured out how to do that, and fast forward, I think we're like at 170 billion in fundings. Since
Just further let you
then.
know that anything is possible.
Anything is
Sometimes you
I
just
mean,
need to look.
Someone
Ask.
just call you.
Yeah.
Hey, you ever thought about it?
Right spot, right time.
No,
sometimes.
but I'll try it.
Yeah, so that's just kind of being open for opportunities. So the warehouse, put us back to profitability, and and then we continued to dig out of the hole. We got our Fannie and Freddie tickets, and then we had, of course, the whole suite, which is tracks guys, like you a few years ago, and so that's kind of what happened, and I think it's important for Northpointe and everybody really is just to be open to the opportunities, and I think that's as a management team that you guys are a part of, that we just listen to one another and take the bank in continued directions, that it's a profitable, helping homeowners, and doing and attracting, top talent, which, we've been able to do the last few years.
Absolutely.
I always say that my favorite thing about Northpointe is how flat the organization is. Like, if I absolutely need Amy or Jessica Fanton's help on something, they have the same sense of urgency that we do about trying to get something done on time or solving a problem. Which the only organization that I've been a part of that was similar to that was Bellarmine Basketball. It's the only time where people who weren't directly involved in whatever was going on, if we called them, they would drop what they were doing and like sprint to do it. I can't imagine, and that's the bigger problem I think people have with banks and lending, right? Like when they're getting the pre-approval letters and one's so-and-so mortgage and blah, 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 and then they see so-and-so bank, 9 times out of 10, they're like,
It's not a good
no,
thing.
because if we need something, it needs to be done quick, whatever, they're not going to answer. But our brand is not built that way. They don't
Right.
even think about it like a bank. People call us mortgage brokers all the time.
All the time.
Right.
And I don't correct them because I'm like,
No, I want them to think what you want. Call me anything.
We're
Just
not.
send me your deal.
Just give me your
Just give me the business.
Yeah,
give me the
like-
deal.
Yeah, we're agile.
So
We're agile.
yeah,
is what
but
you're saying. Yeah.
but that's my favorite thing about it because that's special for an organization of this size. Like that's not a normal. It's not lost on me that that's a normal thing, and I have a limited experience in it. But I worked somewhere else where it was you could never do that.
Well, and I've been Northpointe wasn't the first bank we were at, and frankly for me, I've been at multiple levels of sizes of banks, and I tell people all the time, Northpointe's superpowers are the P's, the people, the products, the process, and I mean that because we've come through. I think I can say we've come through the worst market in the history of the world. Obviously, and we came through it. As a bank, we had some moments over the last couple of years where we were putting our heads together and building, and building back. But I attribute that a lot to the people because, you're in the room, Amy Butler's in the room, the leaders that helped us get through that period. And then the salespeople out on the street, we all work together hand in hand to make sure that we're, continuing to be the best, like I like to say, the best dang bank around.
Yep.
So,
Best damn bank coach.
Best dang
Best damn bank.
dang with an NG, but yeah, best dang bank around. But no, it is
PG-13.
It's a testament to back to what you said though, how you built it, with a strong foundation and then built it from the ground up. So I mean, I was impressed from the moment that I walked in this building 4 years ago. I brought these guys back, and it was just such a breath of fresh air to be able to sit and say, "Here's the owner of the bank." At the time, right? Yeah. Obviously, we were privately owned, so and you dig in just as much as anybody. So yeah. I love it. So
Well, I mean, it goes back to what I was just telling you out in the hall, just as we were kind of just chatting about your 90 today.
it's pretty impressive.
Striking the ball down the middle of the fairway.
After you just dropped 75 pounds.
After you just dropped 75 pounds, coming in looking all good. But in all seriousness, back to the flat organization. I mean, that's understanding for us. That's a wonderful, like to have that touch. You don't get that in corporations. You don't get that in big operations. You can't just go touch certain people when you need to. And I think that's a testament to what you started here. And I told you, I was like, it was one of the things that I could not, like, again, if we went and polled 50 people today, bank owner, CEO, like they're dressing in suits and ties, yes or no? And not saying you don't dress in suits and ties, but I'm just saying like the first time we met you, you came in like just a button-down Northpointe, like fishing attire type shirt and pants like this. And I was like, man, I thought to myself, I was like, this is the owner of the bank sitting here. And I'm like, I was expecting some corporate guy coming in and it blew us away. Like I said, there were many reasons we chose it, but I think that was just kind of neat because you walked in just a second going a polo and shorts and then you all left me hanging here. Tyler's my resident short
usually
guy.
I'm the one that's
and I'm like, so
dressed,
I'm like, so, but I think that's
professional.
it just goes back to, I think the culture of the bank is where it's professional. We're serious. We are successful. We have aspirations, but we also enjoy life. And there's more important things than just having a stigma or an image or something like that. It's just about, what works, and I think that's what's important.
Well, I think the word's approachable.
Yeah.
I think the word's approachable because, I've known you for a little over 4 years now, because I met you before we came here, obviously, 4 years ago, but that's one of the things I think that people who get to know you, just, you're a genuine dude. Yeah.
But the culture's like that. It's not just, it starts with
him,
you, but
it starts with him,
that's what it never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to people, the first time I talked to Sarah, Federico was sitting over here behind the camera, like
making sure you don't say something wrong.
No, I'm just, from the first conversation, everybody, you can tell that the culture piece is very much an important deciding factor when you guys are bringing people into it. Yeah. Because if they don't align, it only takes one. Cancer starts with one cell. Yeah. I think it's hard to do because sometimes you can't tell, right? Until you start seeing it infect other things, and then you're like, oh boy, shit. Yeah. And I can't, like I said, it reminds me of Planet Bellarmine because that was his whole thing. I mean, you don't know as much about it, but like
you've met him though.
I know, but you've seen it like over the years, and that is why they were successful. It's not because they had the best. It wasn't even because they had the best players necessarily. It was the culture
Well,
built,
we're talking
you know?
culture. Why are we here? Like, we haven't even
Right.
talked about why we're in this, beautiful office that you all just moved into over here. And we're here because of the Sales Summit that we've brought people from across the nation, Northpointe, to be here, to learn, grow, be together, increase that culture. Talk more about that, because this is something that I know you all did, and I think we got back onto it a few years back when we came on board. But talk about the Sales Summit and why that's important to you to keep this going now and bringing people in together to kind of keep this culture strong.
Yeah. So, I think it's great that, we all get together, once a year, and you can really attribute, this whole thing to Amy, because I'm a old baby boomer, that just
Young
give me
boomer, young.
a young baby boomer, tail end of the baby boomers. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And to where just show me where the desk is and get out of my way, and
Yeah.
I don't need any Twinkies or
Like little treats.
yeah, hush puppies or a quiet room or something. I just
I'm cut from that same cloth, by the way. But yeah, but
so it's just a go forward. So Tyler, you mentioned it's hard, but I just think it's really just I wake up every day and I just think about being nice. I just think about being nice, but if you're going to be nice, you got to be firm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, firm,
Fair.
a leader, and humble. So those are the four things I think about every day when I wake up. And so, how am I going to lead my life today? How am I going to do it humbly? How am I going to do it kindly? And how am I going to do it firmly? Because if you're kind, you got to be firm. You have to. There has to be some stops in there. So I don't know really any other way to be. I don't know how to be. I don't know what in an ivory tower. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be it. So
Yeah.
So why I just don't. So I mean, we're all just people. Everybody is. So if you need me to go answer the phone, I mean, we're just chasing success, man. And
It's it doesn't happen. Like I'm just aware that that's just not normal.
It's not.
yeah, it's not. It's not. And that's, like I said, I think, we talk about culture. We're all here, again, the summit, we're here to collaborate. And I think it's one of the things.
Oh yeah, you were talking.
But going back to that, we're all here to collaborate. And I think, but that starts, Amy put this together, and I give all Amy the credit in the world, because, you go back to that first summit. I'm saying first when we were here a couple years, 3 years back. And, but people got to know Chuck, people got to know Amy, people got to know the operations staff.
Ginger. I
and-
love you,
and-
Ginger.
and-
Ginger.
Hey, I love Ginger.
and part of Ginger works in the operations department. But part of that is like I said, back to that collaboration, and we do such a good job of that from the East Coast to the West Coast, Florida all the way up to the Northeast, and I think that's one of the things that makes us so special. It's a bunch of people working together.
Yeah.
But you started that. I mean, listen, when you started the bank, how many employees did you have? Like day one, it was Chuck, and then
They were at 16, I think.
Yeah.
12 or so, I think 16. Yeah, it wasn't meant.
Chuck's taking a deposit, going over, trying to figure out how to run a credit real quick.
So, this is cute. You guys
Open up a car loan.
You guys don't remember cashier's check, but this is a cute story. So, Randy Ferris and Randy, helped me start the bank. So we were partners in this thing, and I was sitting in his office, which was right in the branch, essentially, at our very first office. Anyways, the branch manager, came and was just like, there's a customer out here who wants some traveler's checks. Now, you guys are probably too young to know traveler's checks, but that's how.
yeah, Coach. I said, Coach, we're not too young.
Okay.
Tyler wasn't alive when travelers checks were still there.
Okay.
We're old enough for travelers checks. Not
So,
Tyler.
but they were kind of even on their way out in the early 2000s. So, there's this couple that they want some traveler's checks, and I look at Randy and I was just like, and John, who was our branch manager, I said, well, tell him to go to a bank. I'm like, wait, we are a bank. Okay, well, we don't have traveler's checks yet, but we'll get traveler's. So we got traveler's
Gotta
checks.
add it to the list.
Add it to the
Oh, one thing I need to do.
Forgot about that.
I forgot about traveler's checks.
What was
Tell 'em
the
to go to a bank.
what was the so traveler's checks was like you would come into the bank and you'd bring cash, and they would cut checks that you would take. Like what was
Yeah.
the
It's
It's
purpose?
like a
of
money grant.
It was
or whatever.
it was like it was like cash, but you had to sign it. So if you had $100 traveler's check, you would have one signature on it, and then you had to sign it again, and it was just like cash.
Okay.
Um, to any merchant, they knew what it was essentially cash,
What was
but
the
they
point?
had.
What was the point?
The point was so you wouldn't have to carry cash,
Okay.
and people steal it because if they stole your traveler's checks,
They didn't sign it.
they were non-negotiable.
Okay.
So then you could say, "Hey, my traveler's checks were stolen."
You could get them back.
You could
or refunded. Or whatever.
yeah, they could wire you new traveler's checks. So they were so you didn't have to worry about somebody stealing your cash if they stole your traveler's checks. So they were for travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before, credit cards.
And Apple Pay ruined everything. Ruined all the good old times.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we might be onto something. The traveler's checks could make a comeback. We could take out.
Let's hope they don't.
No, I'm totally
Yeah,
kidding.
we'd be third world again. So
No, I'm totally kidding. So as far as I guess here we are, 26 years. What do you look at as far as growing the bank in the future? Like, I mean, we don't need to get deep into the weeds, but what do you see, or what do you look for, or what are you looking for, or just talk to us about.
where we're at today and where we're going.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we're public for one, right?
We're public and growing. I was doing an interview this week, and I always get the classic, so what's the 3 to 5 year plan? I'm like, we move so fast that I have no idea where we're going to be in 3 to 5 years. I probably should, but I think if you look out and you plan, that far into your future, I think you limit, finding and executing on opportunities that are laying right in front of you. And so I can't, Jesse, I can't tell you how excited I am, for today. And to your point, I think we've come through a very challenging time from 22 to 25. And hey, it propelled us into being able to do an IPO, right? So if we could do that in this tough time, just imagine what we can do, over the next 3 years, in
Heck yeah.
let's just say a stable or declining rate environment. But even if it doesn't, we're going to be just fine.
Doesn't
We're going to
matter.
continue to grow. And I think, what is really, really exciting, our warehouse business, as you guys know, is going gangbusters. And, that's been a real catalyst for us. But, the distributed retail, is we're able to be very selective on who we're bringing in. And, I can't believe you guys. I just can't believe that you're part of this team. You're so talented, and I look at your numbers, and I was showing my boys, I'm just like, look at, all the top,
Guys from Kentucky.
yeah, look at, these guys, the top 10 originators in the company, or, I just look at Jesse, and then look at, these guys are like studs. These are like top 10 people, and look what Jesse's just 5-10 times over everybody. I'm just like, can you believe that he's even part of our team? And so I know you guys are heaping the praise on me, but it's you guys are really what's driving. And so my part is making sure the foundation is solid, keeping the pieces, not letting cancers in the door, and just keeping us on a steady pace that we don't have to be the biggest. We want to be the best, as you guys know. We just want to be the best with the best set of products and have the best originators, that and not just because they do a lot of volume, but do the right amount of volume and respect all the people in the organization. And Tyler, you keep heaping on the praise about the respect that everybody shows, and it is difficult, but it's really it's not as difficult as it seems if you just if you just respect, people, be honest with them,
Yeah.
hold them accountable, people respect that, and or they'll run through a wall for you. All you have to do is just show them that
You care.
that you care.
I mean, really, that's all it is. I mean, I know that's so simple, but I mean,
No.
it's like I've never had to make a phone call and felt like, man, they just wanted me off the phone. Like, they're asking, like, what can I do to help you? And that's Coach D always said. I mean, I'm gonna reference him a million times. He said, caring is a skill, and I used to think it was the corniest thing ever. But like, as a professional, I realized, like, I really think that's what separates us from a lot of organizations. Like, I think we all truly do care.
I think and all of our clients say the same thing. But when we hire people, it's just like every client, every loan officer, you got to treat them like this is the last deal you're ever going to see. And if you do that, it's going to come back to you. I say it, over a sixfold every time. Just think about putting a quarter in and getting $1.50 back. I mean, that's all you got to do, and it's not some magical formula. It's just treat every deal like it's the last deal you're going to do, and treat every client that when they call like they're the only client in the world.
100%.
And it doesn't matter what end of the phone you're on, whether you're selling, or you're buying. It's just and so I think that's magical, in this organization. So
I agree. I'm going to say this. I think about every person in the organization that I deal with, from Chuck Williams to the top to different levels of different departments, and every person that we deal with, we talk about this all the time. Everybody's so kind. Everybody's so, how do we help? You talk about every client being the last client. That's part of the reason that, you talk about how selective we are in who we bring in. Well, that's a key, right? But also coming through the 22s and the 23s and the 24s, very few places, very few IMBs and I don't know, many banks, right, made it through like we did with the amount of production we did and the amount of just overall success, but with such unbelievable people. And I think that's something that's going to continue to propel us and help us grow, as we move forward. I love it. I've got so much excitement.
Well, I mean, just to say what you said, I mean, I talked about this. Jesse had me on do one of our mastermind sales calls that we do weekly, where we get everyone across the country on a call and brainstorm and create great ideas, as Mace would say, what our value bombs. I mean, so literally the call is awesome, but it's just, and I'm fortunate enough I get to speak on the panel on Tuesday, and one of the things is, like, someone says, how do you do the volume, and how do you keep hitting business, and how do you do this? And a few things I want to touch on, but you just said it. I said it. You treat every deal like it's the last deal. It's their only purchase that they're doing right now, right? You might be doing 20 right now.
it's their whole life.
That's their life right now.
Right.
And when they close, they need to know that you were vested in them. You gave them everything, and that you were kind, pleasant, nice, and you worked your arse off for them, and that's where, just to reiterate what you just said, it is like the clients need to understand, and our same thing for our people, our peers. Like, we want them to have that same level of respect, right? But yeah, I think that's just what separates.
That's the thing that I'm most proud of our group is whenever I talk to people that aren't in our branch, like when they're here or, wherever they're operating out of, they always comment on how nice we all are. But it strikes a chord with me because one of my personal missions is to show people you can be hyper successful without being an a-hole.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do really incredible things and still treat people with kindness and respect, and show them I'll go the extra mile and I care and I want to help you. That's my favorite thing. I don't really, not that I don't care about the point, but it's whenever people say that, it just makes my soul light.
No, but when you make a client feel like that,
yeah.
Number one, you were successful.
But I'm not even talking about the clients. I'm talking about people
the
here,
people, but
inside of our organization.
When you treat people, whether it's a client or when you treat people right, they're going to work harder for you.
100%.
And if it's a client, they're going to remember that. They're going to turn around and come
They'll
back.
sell for you.
Yeah.
That's
Six times. It's a 6-time investment every time.
Is that a thing, really?
Yeah. in my mind.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. 6 times. No, I love
6
it.
times.
Yeah. So I guess from that, from taking that away, I gotta go to something. You're a Michigan State fan.
Oh yeah.
You're Spartan. Oh,
Go Sparty.
Bleak green. Yeah.
Are they 2-0?
3-0.
Oh, they won yesterday.
Yeah, I bet you didn't know that Jonathan Smith is the first coach in MSU history he's won the first 3 games as a head coach.
Really?
In 2 years. Yes.
I didn't know who Jonathan Smith
I
was.
didn't even know their head coach's name was Jonathan Smith.
That does not sound like a football
What
coach.
I was gonna say, what a like generic.
Yeah.
We got John Doe coaching on the
John Smith.
John Smith.
Where
Are you bigger football or basketball or both equal?
Yeah. Yeah. Michigan State basketball, Tom Izzo,
I'm a
the
big
greatest
Tom
individual.
Izzo fan.
Greatest individual.
I know Tom
on earth.
Izzo.
Big Tom Izzo.
All you got to do is model your life after Tom Izzo, and everything will work out just great for you.
Yeah.
Is he a good dude?
He's the best in the world.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah.
Do you remember Gary Harris? that
Yeah.
played there. He was my high school teammate.
Was he?
Yeah, and he loved Coach Izzo.
Yeah.
Loved him. He used to talk about him all the time.
He looks like
Yeah.
he just looks like a great dude.
He
Just one of those
said-
guys on camera.
he-
It's hard to know when you're seeing.
Now
someone
he
on
said in
camera.
practice, he was like he definitely has choice words for you.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you know,
so-
during
so
practice.
Coach D-
But
One great coach
But,
does.
but I mean, like, it just shows you care.
That's love.
That is their version of showing they care. And like, once I realized that as a player, it made it a lot easier. You know, Coach D once
Getting
told me
reamed out.
I was the
Yeah.
worst player to ever put on a Notre Dame basketball team.
Oh, there might have been
Like, I started every game I played there, but I'm the worst basketball player
And you still
that's
remember
ever
that.
put. He knew what button he was pressing because after that I went crazy. But he was good at that.
He loves you. Yeah, that's
No, I
it's
love
coming
him.
from a place of love. Did you did you ever have any aspirations to play for Sparty, or was there ever?
Oh no, I'm not that kind of athlete. I needed to, use my brain at a young age. So that
He had to start a
wasn't
bank.
it-
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he was busy trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to open a bank.
His whole plot about how he's going to start a bank in his
Yeah.
Tyler's in. But no.
I'll tell you a funny story real quick. This is really fun because you were talking about Jesse, and we do highlight Jesse, and he's the most humble top 50 loan officer in the country.
Right.
And he always gives praise. I think that's what makes it even more special. You could go ask Mason and some of these guys; they're blown away on again the leader of the sales giving so much attention and time and care in the accolades when his accolades are here, right? Funny story. There's a guy that's no longer employed by the bank that happened to be in the interview when we came up to meet you guys. It's fun. We all hadn't really met yet. It was you may not. We've told you this story, but you probably don't even know where I'm going with this.
All right.
So we're all sitting in this conference room, and at this point in time, we got rate sheets pulled up. Jesse's firing questions off left and right. And I'm not talking. He's going from all angles right now, and so we probably sat there. I don't know, 30, 45 minutes, and we're just getting the day started. And Jesse has to go use the bathroom, whatever. And again, there's 5 of us. We got. There's Bo, me, Giles, Bill, and Jesse in there. So they don't. They just know we're from this
Right.
little bank in Louisville, Kentucky, and they want to hire us, right? Because the sales guy at the time out west was like, he knew our numbers, right? So we're in there talking, hanging out or whatever, and Jesse walks out of the room for a second. He goes, "So Jesse, does he actually originate?" And we died laughing because again they just they didn't know who we were. They knew our numbers as a whole. And again, he's no longer at the bank anymore, so I felt I was compelled to say that. But it was the funniest thing because we all literally imagine us 4 sitting there and we know that again what he does, and we were like, does he produce? Well, he does my production times about 40 times his.
Add
Yeah,
all of ours up
I-
together, then times it by 3, and then that's what
The bank adds up together.
I think he produced. So then we were like, yeah, this is what he personally did last year, and they were like, holy crap! It was kind of like that aha moment. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a wonderful relationship.
Yeah.
Well, funny story, and I don't know if you know this, but who he's talking about. So I found out at a funeral, flashback 2021. I found out at a funeral that our old bank's being sold. I'm not supposed to know. This guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, what do you think about Stockyards Bank?" And I said, I think they're a good bank. Actually, I banked there for a long time. And I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I learned a long time ago you have to act like you know what you're talking about. So I left the funeral and then it hit me, and I was like, we're being sold. And so at that point I realized, okay, there may be a situation where we move with the new bank, but I started putting out feelers, and I've been getting emails for a year or so. And I kept getting this. It's the what's that flyer called that we send out, shows all the products.
Like one
Northpointe or
yeah.
One Stop Lending. One Stop Lending.
Yeah.
And so we send this out to realtors, but the individual he's talking about would send it out to recruits. And I would see it and I was like, there's no way that all these products exist under one roof. And so I'm actually going through the car wash, Hirschburn Lane. I'm going through the car wash and it's like 9 o'clock Louisville time, maybe 8:30 Louisville time. My kids are in the car, it's loud. And I'm like, I'm just going to call this guy Saturday morning. Ring, ring, ring. Well, little do I know that it's like 6:30 in Colorado. And so he answers the phone. Hello? I was like, hey, this is Jesse Cronin. Got your email. I wanted to talk to you about Northpointe Bank and see how, we could potentially just chat about what it would look like if we came there. Well, long story short, he had no idea who I was. He took my name, sent me an email Monday, and it was just funny because that's the individual he's talking about. But I look back at those points in life, and I'm sure you've had plenty of these. I know we all have. That conversation's what got us here today. And it's one of those things where I tell people all the time, and I don't mean to get sentimental, but everything happens for a reason. Our old bank's selling. We loved our old bank. Our old bank's selling. In the moment, it was like, oh my gosh, gloom and doom. Here we're riding high. And if you look back over the last 4 years and the market we've come through, honestly, the success is because of Northpointe Bank and the products and what you started 26 years ago. And like I said, I'm jazzed. I'm 44 years old. I've been very successful. For the 20 years that I've been doing this, I've got more energy at 44, probably because I'm doing 95 push-ups.
Yeah, there you go.
Chuck and I are in a 95 push-up group. If you can't tell, we're both getting pretty fit. But in all seriousness, I've got more energy at 44 for what we're doing and passion than I did 20 years ago. And I think it's when you have the backing of the organization like we've got that you built. It gives us the ability to know we can go ahead and win on every situation and continue to succeed. So we appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate what you're doing. And, you bring up a point about Jesse getting on the mastermind calls and whatnot, and just the selflessness that, you have to the organization to help others when you could just be out shagging another deal, without bringing up, the people around you, that is a attribute that just goes really unnoticed. I think not unnoticed, that's not the right word, but just something
flies
really
under the radar a little
flies
bit.
under the radar. Just something really special about you and how fortunate Northpointe is to have you around. So
I appreciate it. We're fortunate to be here.
I feel like we're going to have to give like a group hug here.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
but
Tyler,
it's just,
I love you too, buddy. Okay,
but it's just like
I know
it's
you
just
are
like-
special to me. I want you to know that you're very, very special to
Thank
me.
you, Chad. I love you so much.
You mean so much to me.
even though you're the worst basketball player ever played.
Best ever put on a Bellarmine.
Bellarmine history.
But it's even like how I got here with you two.
Yeah.
Ran into you super late. Like I was never, even though I was young, like I really wasn't out late that often, just because like it just wasn't my vibe. And I'm out there with my top referral partner, and I think literally a month before this, I had lost 2 deals to him because we didn't have bank statement products. And then we had another deal where it was like this was the last straw for me. It was a house that had an ADU, and they wouldn't let me use the rent for the house because the guy was going to stay in the ADU, and the house was obviously bigger. They wouldn't let me use the rent for the house and said he had to occupy or it wasn't even about rent.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
They just wouldn't let him occupy. Oh, that's what it was. Someone was still living in the ADU.
Just for like a month.
Yeah,
Something
like
silly.
it was something stupid.
They were
And
moving.
they just would not like come off of it. And then it was probably like 2 weeks later, a week later, when I ran into you guys. And then he hit me up the next morning. And I had heard his name, but I didn't really know, like, I'm 2 years into it. Like, I'm doing 20 million. I'm good. Like, I got it. And then he hit me up, and I went and looked
There's
his numbers up, and I was like,
Is this a
did
typo?
they move the desk? Like, huh? And then when we went and met, it struck the same thing that you just said kind of struck me, because I'm like, he has to be like super busy. And we're like, we met multiple times for lunch, And the decision that I made, I didn't even know, like, I don't think I looked at rate sheets. I don't think I even asked like what the pay was. I just knew, I was like, I want to be around people like that, because I'm going to be better if I'm around those types of guys.
Yeah.
And that was, and the you know, not to throw shade or whatever, but like the top guy at the place I was at before was not a family guy, not like
me, myself, and I.
He literally was on his own island, like never saw him, like hardly talked to anybody, just did his own thing. And I just always thought it was weird, because I'm like, wouldn't you want to? And I noticed like how involved he was with everyone, and that they had like a village. It was like he took him, his brother, and all his boys, and was like, hey, like, we're gonna go do this together and help build that all the way up. And then when they told me the story about how they literally picked up a whole operation from where they were and plopped it here. And I was like, how many people? And he told me, I was like, what happens to a company when you take, like, literally...
They voluntarily came.
I mean...
They got sold. So
it just, I don't know. It just kind of blew me away. Like, obviously they believe in something, right? Like, if everyone's on that same page.
Well, you know, and not to get into the weeds, but obviously we've had some unbelievable coaches on our show, on our podcast. We had Scott Davenport, you know, Hall of Fame coach from Relevant. We had Coach Mike Glazer, you know, Kentucky high school, one of the winningest all-time coaches. He's got like
He was the winningest still recently.
Right, he's got like 11 state championships, and both of those guys believe in what I think embodies, you know, the way I live my life. And but really, it sounds like the way you feel the same way. You talk about firm, kind, all those things. Is team, right? And you know, like Coach Glazer was talking about, TAM, together, you know, together. I can't even think right now.
Yeah.
Together, each achieves more.
Yeah. That's
Sorry, but my point is like that team mentality that we have here, that we have in Louisville, and that we do across the country is what makes, you know, us so special.
For sure.
I've learned a lot from, like, even when we did the mastermind last week. I've never done a VA Earl in my entire life. Just, I don't know. I've just never done one. And she was explaining it, and I was like,
Why don't I do those?
what? Like, I just only want to do those if that's what,
Yeah.
if that's what that looks like.
Yeah, Stacy Bishop, you know, her
She did great.
both her grandfather, her mother, and her brother-in-law are all like, I mean, like, I'm talking like admirals, commanders, like all these things. And so she's got a passion for, you know, the VA community. And so Earls,
Absolutely.
a lot of folks don't understand how easy it is, and it's an unbelievably great product for veterans. And so
Hey.
I'm glad
Hey.
that the
Right
mastermind helps.
Go
right?
veteran.
You know,
Hey, right
let's
here,
go.
USA,
So-
baby, veterans.
It blew my mind.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it is special, man. I had someone tell me a veteran, not to get off the track, but someone was getting a pre-approval, you know, because VA owns such a stinking rat, right?
Yeah.
Like from a listing agent, like if they're whatever. I literally had a listing agent call me and said something about, oh, are they going VA? And I said, absolutely. I was like, and I advised him to go VA. One, he's exempt from the funding fee because he's disabled. He's disabled from being
Because he served our
military,
country.
because he served our country.
Yeah.
I said it's his honor and their right to actually utilize this amazing loan option that they've been offered for their service, and it's a great loan, and they're a great buyer. And if you don't take this buyer, you're lost, right? But it was just kind of one of those where it was like,
Really?
like I got a listing agent that's like maybe trying to like. So anyhow, just it kind of struck a nerve in me a little bit when I was like, you're, you know, how about we flip the script? You could
Right.
go tell your seller.
Right.
Hey, we have a great veteran that's actually got some disability here because he's exempt from the funding fee, and that's why they're doing it. How about we talk about why we should take that person's
Yeah.
offer, because we want. So anyhow, just
Good stuff.
people sometimes, you know. Sometimes you just gotta flip that, you know, that mindset on sometimes. And once I actually kind of did that, it was they were kind of like, you know
It
what?
definitely puts people kind
It did. It really did. Honestly,
they go, oh,
they
yeah.
did. They really did.
You're
So,
right.
Yeah.
Looking
It's kind of
at-
messed up.
looking at it from, you know, what they've done for the country, and yeah, people need to be reminded of that. For sure.
Well, we, you know, obviously we're wrapping up here as we get ready to head over to celebrate, kick off the
Kick-off the summit.
You know, you said 90. What's your best round of golf in the last 12 months? Is it the best, or have you cracked some
Probably,
things?
yeah, probably, yeah, 90, 92. So
Oh, so today was like a good day.
it was a good day, and I had, actually Steven was with us and my two boys, and so
It's a
yeah,
good day.
it was a great day.
Yeah.
Weather
How'd
is
they-
perfect.
how'd they
The
shoot?
weather is
Yeah,
perfect.
it's beautiful.
How's Steven shoot? Steven hit 90s?
Yeah, Steven, he does all right.
He does good. And the boys, who's the best of the four, y'all? Politically correct. Who's the best?
He's good. He's
Who's the
He's
best
solid.
of the four?
He has golf clubs.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, my youngest
swings
son.
the clubs.
It's
He
pretty
drove the golf
Yeah.
cart.
My oldest son can mix it up with. So they're pretty comparable on any given day. You know, and, they're better than I am for sure. So
Well, last thing I want to ask, and I'll let these guys ask. You know, again, it's going to sound like I'm being funny. I'm not, but how much further are you hitting the ball after doing the 95 push-ups a day? That's got to be right.
yeah, I'm not sure it really
Upper
helps.
body
it.
strength. Come on,
I
it's gotta
know.
be, right?
I know it's golf ball is really not about strength. It's about rhythm, and I just don't really have
You don't have rhythm.
I don't have really great rhythm.
Well, then if
You
you
know,
I mean,
I muscle through. But,
Justin Thomas is a $155. And
I know.
And this is Justin's from
Mess
he's
out
from
of the
Wolf.
ball.
right?
So he actually played
Actually,
St. X-ray
he went to my
Waymansville. So he's a maybe $165 maybe now 'cause he's bulked up to a buck and hits the ball a mile. So it's
Yeah.
like it's definitely not anything about size.
And I was being goofy because
I know.
Chuck, if you watch me play golf, they laugh because
He's just driving on every shot except
He cheats.
except the putt.
I
He
use a
puts
putter.
chapstick on his driver.
But it works.
That's cheating.
It does work.
That's cheating.
The ball goes straight. There's no slice and there's no.
That's cheating.
Either way, the ball goes straight. But I use the driver off the tee. If I'm within like 30, I'm still using the driver in the fairway, and then I might use a pitching wedge and a putter. So I play golf with like 3 clubs.
He is not joking. This is a
I used to be good in my younger days, and then 4 kids later and a lot of work. I'll when I get to be what'd you call yourself, a young baby boomer?
Yeah.
When I
young
get to my
baby.
young baby boomer days,
Yeah.
I'll go back to playing.
oh for sure.
So, y'all have any other questions for Chuck before?
No,
we
I'm
close
just
on
super. Listen, I'm
We're excited to have you guys.
I'm pumped to be here. I love the Grand Rapids trip. We have such a great time. I mean, we're going to collaborate with so many cool people this week, and we're going to have fun. It's
Yeah.
like, so we came here to learn and grow and increase and, get smarter and get better at what we do. But we came here to have fun and just enjoy people's, So I personally just want to say thank you for continually having us. Thank you, Amy Butler, for
Yeah.
getting Chuck, for
Amy,
making this.
Bridget.
Yeah, Bridget, listen.
Bridget's
Bridget's the
all
unsung
stuff.
hero. Everyone
All
has,
stuff.
but
Sarah's done an amazing job.
thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah, have we passed the compliance test so far?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Tyler and I, listen, just for the record, this is not like a PG, the podcast is whatever, but Tyler and I, we use our choice words here and there. We don't really watch. We both censored ourselves on.
Oh yeah.
We both literally censored ourselves because I'm like, she's right there.
Yeah, I know.
She's right there. She's
see her
going to
on
nail
her
me.
mouth.
Pretty
I'm like, I'm not going to say it. And that's why I had to stumble and be like, arse. I was like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
But anyhow, no, I'm so pumped to be here. I'm pumped to be at Northpointe. I'm pumped to be at this rally. I can't wait to do all the things and see where you take us, my man.
Yeah. So, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, we do need to have a big shout out to Amy and her team for, it was a couple of years ago. She said, Chuck, I think we got to do this. And I'm like, Amy, that sounds great, but why are we wasting money and taking people away from, they should be out originating, not sitting
Old school
here,
mentality.
It should be their desk, not eating
Yeah.
Twinkies. Exactly. That's right.
They're not in some health room or whatever, they should be working. And, but, she's like, you just have to trust me. She always tells me this because I'm like, I'm still old school. I don't, the rah-rah stuff, I just everybody should just be working. And she's like, no, you got to trust me on this. We need to collaborate. We need to do all this. And so, kudos to her for really coaxing this along and bringing it to, now it's like massive this year. And she's got so many things and sponsors, and it's going to be a really exciting, 3 or 4 days.
It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, man.
It's gonna be really
I'm
awesome.
excited.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, thanks again.
All right, thank you guys
Appreciate
for
you.
having me.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. so
Anytime.
much.
Appreciate you. Thanks for joining
Chat.
the closing table with the funding fathers.
All right,
Appreciate
the
it.
funding fathers.
Till next time. Oh,
And
no.
funding fathers. That's.
like
I
that?
told my boys today when I was golfing. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be on a podcast. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but yeah, it's called the funding fathers. Like, Wow, that is a cool name.
Dude, we
Takes their logo.
were like literally kind of brain, like we were going back on a group text and we were kind of throwing a bunch of random stuff off, and then next thing you know, we could like, oh, that sounds good, and then finally it's
Well,
funny. And as soon as he said it, it's like
Chat GPT, and it like threw out like 5 or 6, and I like
we
took the
yeah.
front end and the back end of 2 different ones, and I was like,
Yeah,
hold on,
that's
like that's a cool name.
Oh, absolutely, that's awesome. So
Do you? We can wrap up.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. See you next time at the closing table.